Okay, we're going to look at this exercise and identify independent clauses. So always go through all of our steps, identify the prepositional phrases. So let's start at her new job is a prepositional phrase. Of shoes. Okay. The second thing we need to do is identify infinitive phrases with the single-sided brackets. So to use is an infinitive and the whole infinitive phrase is to use at her new job. And then to match the purse is another infinitive phrase. So we'll put that in brackets. Okay, the next thing is underline the subject once and the verbs twice. So this sentence, Jane is the subject, bought is a verb, so underline that. And then the next part, she is a subject. And bought is the verb. Okay. Now that's all. We don't have, we've identified everything else. So in this sentence, we have two clauses. Each of our clauses, let's make sure they fit the definition. It has a subject, Jane. It has a purse, bought, and expresses a complete thought. You could say Jane bought a purse to use at her new job, period. That would be an independent clause. Then you could say she bought a pair of shoes to match the purse. And that would be an independent clause. So in this sentence, we have two independent clauses. And I'm just going to put the IC for independent clause right there. Okay, I'm going to make this a little bit more roomy. It looks like it's having issues. Okay. Let's go to number 2. Some monkeys enjoy stealing people's cell phones. Let's go through and identify everything we know. I don't see any prepositional phrases. Monkeys is our subject. So we're going to underline that once. Enjoy is a verb. Okay, we don't have prepositional, no infinitives. We did the subjects and the verbs. Put brackets around the clause. So do we have any more? We're looking for subjects. That's what we have to have, a subject and verb. Monkeys enjoy what? Stealing. Stealing is a direct object. So this whole thing is a clause. I'm sorry, I forgot to put my brackets up here. That would have made it helpful, wouldn't it, if I put my brackets? Okay, so this one is one independent clause, the whole thing. All right, number 3, a new kind of money is called Bitcoin. First thing we want to do is find our prepositional phrases. We're going to put our parentheses. Whoops, if I can figure out which, my keyboard is not lit and I just cannot see. Okay, so I don't need that. Well, that's my prepositional phrase. And I find my subject. Kind is my subject. And is called is my verb. Okay, I don't have any infinitive phrases. So the whole thing is one clause. And because I only have one set of subjects and verb. So this is an independent clause. Okay, let's do, and I could even come in and do it like this. I could say this whole thing is a clause, and then I could break it out into another clause because you know it's only going to be, you're going to have a bracket at the beginning and the end. But you want to make sure, so find your subject and verb, because, oh, here's our prepositional phrase. I'm going to say we didn't have any, but we do. Money is a prepositional phrase. So we underline our subject and our verb. And we check, does this fit our definition? Does it have a subject? Yes. Does it have a verb? Yes. Does it express a complete thought? Yes. Okay. Let's find our prepositional phrases. On number 5, after the accident is a prepositional phrase. Okay, look, pay really close attention. I'm gonna make it great big. Right here to this comma and this comma and. This is a huge road sign for you whenever you're trying to identify clauses. If you see a comma and an and, not always, but often that's going to indicate that you have a compound sentence, which is going to be two independent clauses. So we have find our subject. Calvin is our subject. Woke is the verb. Underline that. And then come over to this part and look for a subject and verb. He is a subject. And did know is a verb. Okay, now I'm going to just come over here and pretend like I don't even have a clue where I'm going to put my brackets. So I'm going to put one at the beginning and one at the end because I know at least I have that much. And now I want to break it down to where I only have one set of subjects and verbs in each clause. So I'm going to use this natural break right here where this comma is at, and that's going to be how I know. So do I have a subject and verb in both? I have Calvin woke in the first one and he did know in the second one. So I have my subjects and verbs. So this is an independent clause. Calvin woke up after the accident and he did not know his name is another independent clause. So we have two independent clauses there. Let's go to number 6 and identify our prepositional phrases. Onto the hard soil is a prepositional phrase, and into small logs. That is also a prepositional phrase. Okay. Then we find our subjects and verb. Limbs is a subject. And fell is a verb. Okay, and then the next part, farmer is a subject. And cut is a verb. All right, we have two sets of subjects and verbs. So now we just have to figure out where do we divide the sentence to make sure that we understand where the clauses are. Since we have two sets of subjects and verbs, we have two clauses. And I always go to where the comma is at. The comma makes a natural break. So the first one, the tree limbs fell onto the hard soil, that is an independent clause. And the second one, and the farmer cut them into small logs, that also is an independent clause. So number 7, to Hawaii is a prepositional phrase. I always want to get those out of the way because we can identify those. And I'm going to, while I'm back here, I'm just going to go ahead and put a bracket. I'm going to go over here and put a bracket. So I don't know where else I'm going to do it. I'm going to make sure I have subject and verb. So Bob and Bill look like those are my subjects. And they joined, that's my verb. Underline that. And then I need to look, see if there's another set of subjects and verbs. And here, they is a subject. And went is a verb. Okay, now I'm going to go back to that comma. That's a perfect way to divide it. So Bob and Bill joined the Navy is an independent clause. Okay, and they went to Hawaii is another independent clause. I hope you're getting all these because it's super easy. It's just kind of time consuming. All right, Bob wrote his mother a letter and called his sister on the phone. So we're going to have on the phone is a prepositional phrase. And I'm going to go ahead and put my bracket back here while I'm here. Put my bracket up here. So we're going to say Bob is the subject and wrote is our verb. Wrote what? A letter to his mother. So we have a direct object. I'm just kind of going through the process of elimination here. It makes it easier. Okay, Bob wrote his mother a letter. Okay, and called is another verb. We're going to underline that. Called what? Called a sister. Sister is another direct object. So what we have here is, how many subjects do we have? We have one subject. Since we have one subject, we can only have one clause. We don't have any other subjects and verbs. It has to be a pair. Bob wrote and called. So this one, this whole thing is one independent clause. Okay, number 9, I'm going to have put a bracket here because I know I'm going to have one at the beginning and the end. And to where is an infinitive phrase. To begin, it begins with the word to, it has a verb. Okay, sometimes tells me when. Shirt is my subject. I'm going to underline that once. And feels is a verb. So I only have one clause here because I only have one subject and verb. All right, number 10, he called her on the phone. On the phone is a prepositional phrase. We put that in the parentheses. And to hear his voice is an infinitive phrase, so put brackets around that. And while I'm here, I'll put brackets at the end of the sentence. Okay, now let's find our subjects and verbs. He is a subject. Called is a verb. And she is a subject. Cried is our verb. So we have two clauses. There we go. So go back and check yours and see. Give me a minute. I'll tell you how many to add up. There are 73 possible in this. So count up the number you have correct over 73, and you can determine your percentage.